Wayne, Elliott and Naomi Lawrance from Netgain, which is a provider of training and support for startup businesses, are going to speak about the experience of starting a business in the gig economy. So Wayne is the CEO of Netgain, an organisation that facilitates workshops and training for startup businesses, including the NEIS scheme and exploring being my own boss. Wayne has operated his own businesses for over 30 years and has worked in the gig economy, understanding what it means to manage and be successful. Naomi loves eating good food and globetrotting. She's an accredited practicing dietitian who graduated with a Clinical Excellence Award in her Masters of Dietetic Practice. She's specialised in oncology, working at the Peter MacCallum Cancer Centre. She's committed to leading positive change in individuals, the community and the environment through an evidence-based, holistic and sustainable approach to wellbeing. She's a recent NEIS program graduate, navigating the new territory of growing her small business in the gig economy. Please welcome Wayne and Naomi, who are going to have a conversation.
Thanks, Naomi, for welcome. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, both past and present. And thanks to, obviously, the Len, Dr. Jude Walker and Maeve Noonan for organising the event, and Anne-Marie Ryan for her support that she's given us over a period of time. Excuse my voice, but I've got a slight cold that most people have got. So, welcome, Naomi. Thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Naomi's a recent graduate of NEIS and with her business. I probably might start firstly just explaining what NEIS is. NEIS is a new enterprise incentive scheme, which was basically rolled out in Geelong. Some of the people involved in Geelong were one of the first people to roll the NEIS scheme out some 30 years ago. It's been one of the most successful self-employment government programs that has existed and still exists to this day. So in terms of giving people the opportunity to start their own gig or their own employment, it's one of the most successful programs. And I know that in Geelong we have RMIT and ourselves that deliver that program throughout the area. NEIS has assisted over 150,000 people establish their small businesses and an integral process of empowering people to start their own business. The NEIS training consists of, for those who aren't familiar, coming in doing some training period whereby they produce a business plan, to do some financial modelling and have guest speakers come in and basically work through the business model in terms of working out what maybe the business model they may start. Naomi, you started, so tell us a little bit about your story. How did you get into NEIS?
So I came back from an overseas trip and wanted to really design a career and a work life that suited me and the lifestyle I wanted to live. And so there was sort of three main needs or aspects that got me into NEIS, and that was wanting a variety in my work, wanting to do work that I was passionate about, ensuring that I had work, particularly in dietetics. It's a very competitive job market. So coming back from overseas, I didn't have any work to come back to. And I'd heard about the NEIS program from friends who had done it in very different industries before, and I thought it would be an incredible opportunity for me to learn the business skills that I had no idea about and really flesh out some business ideas that I've been stewing on many long bus trips overseas. So that's how I ended up at NEIS's door.
So did you always have a passion for involved in dietetics or in assisting people in what they're doing there? Is that something that's always happened?
Yeah, I remember reading the big careers guide in year 10 when I was 16. I came across dietitian. I said, that sounds like me. So I've been working towards being a dietitian for a long time. And naturally my motivation has waxed and waned, and my interest in what type of dietetics I'd like to do has changed a lot, from being sports focused to now more of a food service system sustainability, public health approach.
Do you think that, and it's what we see when people come into our courses, when we interview them, one of the things we look for at that interview, and we interview everyone that comes into the course, is what we see is a passion or maybe a hobby that they have. And it can be an arts-based type of thing, or it might be just an interest that they've taken up and had. So we see that as really important because that's a driving force that is coming from within the person. So we need, from our perspective, if we see the individual is wanting to empower themselves and they have an interest in that field, that tends to build resilience around wanting to explore that and explore that further when things don't exactly go the way they should go, which in business, it's not linear, it's quite dynamic. There's never a straight line, and for our people coming to the course, they need to understand that I can't give them a template, we can give them a framework, but we can't give them a template and say, hey, if you do 1, 2, 3 and 4, you're actually going to have a business. No, it doesn't work like that, and that's why I think someone like Naomi, she's reflected on it over time, she's read things, she's had lots of conversations with people, and all these things start. So that's one of the things we look for, like Naomi's got, is a passion, maybe the life experiences of the person. So maybe we have someone that's come in that's maybe worked in manufacturing or worked in other industries, and that perhaps that has a relevance to the business they want to start. So we would see that as a really important factor in giving them an opportunity. It might be their education and training. So they've done some courses, certificates, maybe at the Gordon or a Deakin, in terms of education that has relevance. You did your education through?
La Trobe University.
Yep, right, yeah.
And University of Queensland.
Yep. So once again, we looked at Naomi's CV, because that's one of the first things I'll look at, is grab a CV and have a look and say, does the skill set reflect the business that they're going into? And it may be at that stage that they go, perhaps we might say, look, come back in 6 months or 12 months, go to the Gordon or go to Deakin or go somewhere else and do some training in that field that will give your business a greater chance of succeeding down the track. So it's, once again, it's a pathway of exploring the pathway of where they need to go. And I think that's very important, because if they're excited about the business they're in, and I think Naomi wants to make a difference in the world, that's the other thing that I see as part of one of the things we might look for. So Naomi ticks quite a few of these boxes, that she wants to make a real difference to the world and an impact on a community. So that's also the other thing. So there's the 3 things she's got: a passion, life experiences, education and training, and wanting to make a difference, all of which add up to what I think is a very good opportunity to start her gig in her business. So with your, so you went through your training for a start off, you did your business plan. Did your business model change during that training period when you were with us?
It did. Through doing the business plan and looking at the viability of different types of services that I could offer and where the need was for those services, I incorporated a variety of different services, such as education, consulting to food companies on product development, and also the original idea of doing one-to-one consultancy and having a portion of that being telehealth or location independent. So I guess the breadth of my business developed and expanded as I went through the process.
So you would have looked at that in terms of, I tend to explain to them in class, is that we have a dartboard and we throw the darts. The darts need to be cash flows coming in, and we need money to come in relatively quickly with these businesses. What are some of the cash flow opportunities we have? Because we might come into the class and only have maybe 1 or 2 things that possibly might take off, and sometimes we don't know, because in the classroom we're in nearly non-reality in some ways. We've got an education in the field, we've got an interest in the field, but the reality of actually being in business and actually doing it is different to the non-reality of trying to work it out in the classroom. So it's really important to try and work through that business model for a start off, to think, well, where's my money coming from? What are the opportunities? And that might be looking at competitors and seeing what they're doing, and then getting some ideas, which might be overseas, and trying to be innovative and think outside the square. Encouraging conversations with other people in the classroom to develop different ideas. And part of that will be doing some financial modelling. So you would have done some financial modelling?
Yes, and then again, when I actually started working, things changed.
Right, yeah. So
things changed yet again.
So can you tell me what happened when you got into the reality of your business?
Yeah, so my original plan was to step straight into the private practice space and work for myself out of consulting rooms and sort of being new to the Geelong area and new to the private practice area, I decided to contract my services under another couple of businesses. So there were many benefits to that in the support of navigating the systems, of referral streams, having admin support. So I think it was a good step into the space to begin with, but not something I anticipated doing through my business model.
So do you think that adaptive mindset that you had to adjust when you reflected on what was going on, you saw what was going on, and then you adapted and changed, was that important?
Yeah, I think I'm learning quickly that things do change quickly. You need to make a lot of decisions, and I'm definitely learning my appetite for uncertainty and getting more used to it. In the few short months that I've been going, I've been doing a lot of different jobs.
So just tell us a little bit about some of the jobs that you obviously came out day one, you've had to adapt and change. So give us an idea on what some of the gigs that you've had to get, or how have you managed getting some income coming in?
Yeah, so I've got about 4 or 5 different streams at the moment. So probably the steadiest work that I have is through Peter McCullum Cancer Centre, working in the hospital down there. I've been working at a rehabilitation centre in Geelong as a contractor, so seeing a great variety of patients there.
Just on that one, we talk about contractors. In terms of your payment or your rate of pay, how did you work that out?
So that was dictated to me by the owner of the rehab centre, and I guess that's one of the drawbacks of being a contractor, is they take a very, very big slice of the pie. So moving forward, it's something that I want to get away from, while I can see where the benefit was to it in the beginning. And also being a contractor, I think there's a lot less flexibility that we're talking about with the gig economy, and I've also felt like I was there growing their business and not really going in the direction that I wanted to with mine. Yeah. So
part of having your own business, is that really empowering you to control your life and having that ability to dictate what you want to do going forward in life?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I hadn't heard of the term the gig economy before now, and I guess my ideas were very optimistic in starting my own business, not only because, as I mentioned, wanting to do the work that I actually want to do in the world, but I think I see all the new technologies and ways that we have the potential to reach people and interact people really, really exciting, particularly in healthcare, and particularly because of my love of travelling and not wanting to be sort of in one place. At this stage in my life, that I see it as more of an opportunity to create a lifestyle where I can be anywhere in the world and earning an income and living a flexible lifestyle. Yeah. Impressive.
This is talking of technology. Do you use technology in your business? Is that something you've embraced as part of your business? Can you explain any? So social media you use as part of your marketing, or?
Yeah. So I've got a couple of focuses for my business, and I think I wanted to sort of master and get pretty comfortable with the private practice sphere before I launched into the food sustainability aspect of my business, which will be more online based. So I haven't ventured into the social media, internet, blogging space as yet, although it is on the horizons for me. I think that platform, particularly in the health sphere, is an interesting one because it's very overpopulated. So it's really about finding a niche in there. Yeah.
So on that, so in terms of getting business, is it networking in terms of meeting people and knocking on doors, or just tell us how you've got that business up and running in terms of that, the networking?
Yeah, it's a lot of networking to doctors, medical practices, introducing myself, my services, and seeing if they have a need for it there. A lot of word of mouth and a lot of putting yourself out there and having that confidence to do that. Yeah, particularly being new to the Geelong area, it's been a big learning curve as well.
Do you think as part of doing NEIS and going through the framework of your business plan and working through everything, it developed a belief in yourself that you could actually go out there? Do you think that was a part of the course, was developing that confidence to go out and push yourself into people's faces and say, hey, I'm here and I've got something different to offer?
Yeah, I think it made me really certain of what skills I did have and reaffirmed to me that I was very capable of doing this, seeing that there was the need there. And I think actually getting out and doing it and seeing how you're received then reaffirms that as well.
Very good. Thank you very much, Naomi, and thanks for your time and thanks for explaining what it means to be part of the gig economy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.